Well, I have a big announcement to make. I've had an epiphany since the conviction of Derek Chauvin. I am officially clown-pilled on the police. I was for a while after the George Floyd thing. I was trying to be white-pilled about it. I was thinking, wow, they're talking about defunding the police and, getting rid of stuff and, reducing the enforcement of all these, piles and piles of laws that the government's built up over time. This is kind of like nullification. This is kind of cool. Oh, they want to devolve police down to a more local level. That kind of makes sense. That's reversing the progressive era when they centralized all of these local government functions, like policing and school boards and things, and made them less democratic and more bureaucratic. But whatever potential there was for any kind of reform movement to local governments, generally speaking, and the police, in particular, has completely been destroyed and shredded by the BLM grifters and, I guess, the brain-dead people who support them. The Micaiah Bryant, whatever thing, that is really the culmination of this. I mean, we had a really stupid story a couple of weeks ago where you had a black guy who was accused of sexually assaulting a woman walking down the street, who knocked on her neighbor's door and asked for help. And then her neighbor just came out and yelled at the guy and told him, hey, walk away and leave. And the guy didn't want to leave. I guess he wanted to follow the girl so that he could grope her again or something. And that guy was in the military, and he lost his job, and they rioted outside his house, and that was that was about the stupidest thing I said. But then I had seen, and that was before Chauvin got convicted. But then as the day Chauvin got convicted, we get this stupid Micaiah Bryant story, where the girl goes, as I'm sure you've all seen, obviously, it's about to stab another girl, and this cop somehow manages to only hit the girl with the knife, not hit the girl standing directly behind her. I mean, it's a perfect shot. I mean, this is the kind of cop that you actually could call a hero, because he saved a girl's life. It's not too often that you can call cops heroes. I'm not this kind of person who says, oh, all of our first responders are heroes, and I bow down and lick the boots of every cop who walks past me. And quite the opposite. I think cops do a lot of bad things, which I wish they would stop doing. But now we're at the point where people want the cops to stop doing, the few good things that they do. Stop stop preventing murders. Stop. Well, in the case of this military guy, he was just acting in a civilian capacity. He wasn't a cop. But if it was a cop, still, we want to stop trying to defend vulnerable young girls from sexual assaulters. We want to, in the case of Jacob Blake, not try and enforce a restraining order that a woman who I believe he at least at the time was accused of sexually assaulting had gotten against him, and who he had went and harassed again, and he had a knife. I mean, Jacob Blake was that was another one that should have made you scratch your head. But we're at the point to where like I said, I'm clown pilled on the cops, because this isn't, there's no logic to this. It's not even just mob lynchings anymore as far as cops are concerned. It's hilarious, and all I can do is laugh. I can't get because I mean, it's like I'm not a fan of cops, generally speaking. I'm not going to come out here and say that they're a bunch of heroes. I think that cops have some problems that need to be fixed. But I am never in a million years going to even smile or wave at some BLM marchers, even if they don't burn down my house, even if they're just marching past peacefully, at least for the moment. I'm not, they're not getting a nice wave from me. Because, I mean, it's obviously only about the racial element for them. They don't give a damn about cops doing things good or bad to begin with. And so at this point, the only solution, all of the really nuanced and intricate ideas I had come up with last year, which, I didn't invent, were sort of an amalgamation of things that I've read and thought about for many years regarding, hey, here's how we could make policing better in America. That's out the window. We're at the stage where if you're a cop and you get a call and you show up and you see black people, just don't get out of the car. That's the solution. That's what will stop the riots. That's what will stop all this. Because if you're a cop and you get out and you see a black person trying to murder another black person and you shoot that black person to prevent a murder, LeBron James is going to want you dead, or at least in prison for the rest of your life. Let's say that's what LeBron seemed to be implying there when he tweeted out the picture of the cop that shot Ma'Khia Bryant and said, "You're next." Because if you can't do that, if that's not good enough, then there's nothing you can do to win as a cop. Just stay in the car. And hell, even Mr. MLK himself, Glenn Beck today, said he would do as much. Which I just happened to hear that when I was on the radio. But thought, if we're at the point where Glenn Beck's saying, what, why are cops even showing up to calls involving black people? Then things are pretty bad. Because he's not, one of these guys. He's pretty sensitive when it comes to these racial topics. I used to be too, but I mean, it's so obvious at this point. We all need to take the clown pill on the cops, okay? We need to get out our big red nose and go honk honk, and just admit that the solution here is racially segregated policing. At the very least, let's say, okay, maybe don't take away all cops from black people, because some black people, I hear, actually want there to be police. But let's only send in the black cops. Other than that, though, no cops for them. Because this doesn't end well. This is clearly the source of the problem. Anytime that police and black people interact, it seems to be a national incident. So that is all that can be done at this point. And if you're a cop, you should get together with some of your buddies and agree, what, we get a call and it's, it's up there at the corner of MLK and Cassius Clay Avenue. I probably am not going to show up. That's it. And frankly, once the cops are doing that, here's the white pill part. Maybe once the cops stop policing black people, we can get them to stop policing the rest of us when it comes to certain cases. Like, hey, let's say, if the cops say, hey, we're not going to respond to black people at all, we're just going to pretend they don't exist, and because it's not worth the legal risk for us, because no matter what we do, even if we prevent a murder, we'll be charged with murder ourselves for not letting the murderer murder somebody. And so maybe we could also get the cops then. Again, this is a bit of a stretch, but maybe in the future this could be possible. Maybe the cops will say, hey, you know what? I don't like dealing with heroin addicts anymore. If I see one walking down the street, I'm going to keep walking, and I'm going to ignore him and not enforce the war on drugs. Or, hey, you know what? At Waco, a couple of us, the good guys at Waco, we, the wonderful law enforcement agents, our guys got killed, and we don't like that. So if there ever comes a point again where we're told, hey, you got to go take away the guns from this group of people, you got to go take their guns, you got to invade their property, we're not going to do that. If the cops could perhaps just start nullifying law on their own, it's a pretty good thing. I think if the cops, abstain from enforcing laws, that's okay. If the cops started making up their own laws and just enforcing more tyranny on us than is prescribed by our already very tyrannical legal code, well, then that would be a problem. But to the extent that the cops abstain from enforcing the law, well, they're letting us be more free. So there we are. Take the clown pill today. You'll be much happier if you do. And you know what? Hey, next time you're around some of your black friends, which, maybe I should have another discussion about that. Is it even safe to have black friends anymore? I don't know. I hope we're still okay at that point. As long as you're not a cop. If you're a cop and you have black friends, that sounds very, very problematic. You probably shouldn't do that. They might accuse you of a hate crime, and, the gravity of the charges, I think, is enough reason to lynch you without a trial. So Be careful of that if you're a cop. And boy, if you're a black cop, oh my gosh, like, you ain't black. To quote our vaunted president, who was duly elected, all that, in the least fraudulent election in American history, the safest election in American history, the most secure, Joseph Robinette Biden. I think he said it right when he told a bunch of young black men that they ain't black. Because if you're a black cop, that's exactly what you are, not black. So that's where we're at, and I'll leave it there for today.